That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us today. The We Show. Welcome to We of We the World and the We campaign, founded by Rick Ulfik, the director of We the World. We the World works to unite and amplify the efforts of people and organizations, as well as global movements working for the common good. And tonight, we'll be shortly welcoming our guest for tonight, Ben Bowler, who's someone we've done just amazing work with, and who is a partner on many issues and many organizations. He has also been a contributor to Trends magazine. So you could go onto our website, we.net, to find out about We the World, as well as donate. Please read our magazine, trends.we.net. I am Robert Levine. I'm the editor of Trends magazine. We put it out quarterly, we just put out an issue in June, of which Ben has an article. Before we start speaking with Ben, I just wanted to mention that today is a momentous day in our history. August 9th was the anniversary of the bombing of Nagasaki. 3 days earlier, in 1945, an atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima. It was momentous in just that it affected our relationship to the world and to each other. It also, I think, opened up a lot of eyes to start to see the world in very different ways. How this action, harnessing the power of the universe for this destructive impulse, made the world a little smaller and started a lot of initiatives to peace, and helped to open our eyes to how we needed to act if we weren't to destroy the world. So from there, I'd like to welcome Ben Bowler. Ben, as well as being a very good friend and partner at We the World, is the executive director of Unity Earth, which empowers worldwide solutions for unity, purpose, and peace. And Ben's most recent article for Trends was about World Unity Week, which occurred in June, which basically kicked off the 99 days of peace through unity. So Ben, thank you for coming on today. I appreciate you being here. It's always good to see you and to spend time with you. So if you could just tell us a bit about Unity Earth and about the world, about World Unity Week. And this becomes especially important because we're a little over a month away from the 11 days of global unity. And unity is our first thing on September 11th. So Ben, please.
Yes, Robert. Oh, thank you so much for having me on the broadcast, Robert. It's great work you do at Trends magazine and We the World, which has been such a beacon for so many years. We were just talking before the show tonight, and you know, the 11 days of global unity got started in 2004. I mean, it's coming up to its 19th year. It's extraordinary, the 18th anniversary of the first one. So it is just an honor to be working with you guys, and our thoughts and prayers always with Rick Ulfik, our dear brother, who is recuperating, and we hope that, you know, energy is returning to Rick and vitality, because we need Rick and the world needs Rick back at full health. So we're really, you know, just honor and respect We the World so much. Rick Ulfik actually became a Unity Earth champion in 2019 at the Unity Earth liftoff in New York, where we honored and acknowledged through that award, you know, legends and champions of this global movement. So we're all standing on the shoulders of each other, and we're all standing on the shoulders of giants ultimately. So to be able to work with Rick and you, Robert, and We the World and Trends magazine, it really is an honor. And there are some exciting things that are definitely you know, in the field this year and building up to the immediate future. I think that most people are aware of the dire kind of circumstances that we're in globally. So anything that is an opportunity for us to come together, to connect, to unite, to to hold space for healing is something which we ought to all support with all of our might and all of our presence and all of our resources. The 11 days of global unity, as you say, starting on September 11th, with unity being that first theme of the 11 days, and then building all the way through till the 21st of September. This year is a Wednesday. And that theme of peace is such a beautiful global framework in which to operate, and it's certainly something that has our full support, and we're honored to be a part of it. We see so many global grassroots initiatives around the world. There are, if you look at the Paul Hawken work of a few years ago, Blessed Unrest, there are hundreds of thousands, millions even, of civil society organizations, grassroots groups coming together to do this sacred work of healing and uniting and repairing the world and bringing it into a new era of peace and unity and wholeness. So there's a long way to go, but the energy of these civil society organizations and global grassroots groups is growing, and it is our greatest hope. Yes, at some point, maybe governance will be wise and enlightened, but certainly that's not where we are today. So we can't wait for governments or certainly corporations. They can be allies and they can be friends in this transformational process, but really to effect this global transformation, it's taking and it's going to take individuals and groups from the grassroots connecting around the world. Now, the good news is we have the technology, we have the means to do this, we have the will to do this. So now it's just around skillful, determined execution. And we see so many signs of hope. People really responding in incredible ways, redefining new forms of economy, new forms of governance, new forms of community, right? And in harmony with the natural world. There is a lot to be optimistic about, and there is a lot to for us to take stock of and to do and to join up together. So these initiatives, like the 11 Days of Global Unity, Robert, are foundational. The arising of World Unity Week, which first came through the pandemic in 2020, where Unity Earth and our friends and partners have been doing these global event series all over the world in sacred sites. And one of them I mentioned before was in New York, where Rick was honored as a Unity Earth champion. But we had events in the outback of Australia, in the Rift Valley in Ethiopia, in the holy city of Varanasi, the holy lands of the Middle East, right across the United States. I mean, it was truly a global event series, bringing together musicians, artists, indigenous leaders, spiritual leaders, religious faith leaders, diplomats. I mean, really diverse scientists, a diverse, incredible collection of humanity coming together for a common purpose of becoming into a community. And so that ran from 2012, 2015, all the way up to 2020. And then obviously the pandemic hit. And then with John Raymer of the Sign Network and with our partners at the United Religions Initiative and Purpose Earth, and this sort of emergence of what became World Unity Week emerged in June around the mid-year solstice, as we had completed the Holy Land Living Water Adventure with 100 spiritual leaders going from Jordan, Palestine, and Israel through the Middle East, looking at the extraordinary work of EcoPeace, who are our hosts. EcoPeace Middle East, I would encourage everybody to look up and get familiar with what they're doing. For 27 years of ecological peace building in the Middle East, they are extraordinary. So after that, then the world got shut down, and we were figuring, what are we going to do next? So that's when out of that emerged this online convergence, which was World Unity Week in 2020, and we had over hundreds of civil society organizations come together and co-convene that original World Unity Week. And it was amazing. It was truly an experience of answering the call. People were showing up together, indigenous ceremony, interfaith prayers, a lot of practical solutions as well. So it was a really extraordinary space of celebrating our global and interconnected unity. Now, of course, World Unity Week, 11 Days of Global Unity, there's such strong, profound synergy. So, Rick has always shown up for the work that we've done for Unity Earth, and has been such a great model for partnership. And so it's our, of course, our privilege to not only reciprocate, but to really lean into what we the world is doing. And we have to do that better. We got to support each other's initiatives and platforms and efforts better. And I think, collectively we're finding ways to do that. There is increasing synergy between the groups. And I think there lies in our greatest hope. We all know that when everybody is siloed and doing their own thing, you only get to so much scale. But the way to hack scale is for us to truly come together and synergize. And that's happening now. What John Raymer does at the Sign Network and teaming up, and what Dr. Kurt Johnson does with the evolutionary leaders and the synergy circles, what you guys do at We the World, what Unity Earth is doing, what Unify is doing. There is so many extraordinary, what Humanity Rising is doing. So there's a lot of good news and there's a lot of work to do. So these 99 days of peace through unity, Robert, were an arc that went from World Unity Week in June, orientated around the mid-year solstice, through to the equinox in September, which is orientated around the International Day of Peace. And this year, it is the 40th anniversary of the celebration of the International Day of Peace. So it's an important milestone. And bringing all of these sort of groups together that are celebrating in different ways to come together into an interconnected field. So it's an exciting opportunity. When we counted the days, we didn't create the 99 days, we discovered it. Because when we counted day one of World Unity Week, which was the 18th of June, through to the final day of Peace Week, which is the Saturday after the International Day of Peace, it's Saturday 24th of September, we counted those, it was 99 days. So 99 days of peace through unity. Peace through unity is a concept which was strongly left to us by Avon Madison, the co-founder of Pathways to Peace, who was instrumental in the early days in the even becoming an International Day of Peace and then those early celebrations. So she left us with a very clear instructions around peace through unity, which leads to prosperity for all. And so that's where the 99 days of peace through unity comes from. And it is something that not only are we doing this year, but we're preparing already and planning for next year in 2023. And I think we've got the community, the tools. We're using new things, like now we're on Mighty Networks, and it's great to know that We the World is on there on the Mighty Network as well. Anybody can go to this URL and join the Mighty Network. It is peacethrough.unity.earth. If you go to peacethrough.unity.earth, you can be invited in to join the Mighty Network, where there are hundreds of leaders of organizations coming together and networking and finding ways to execute. I mean, I will reference the Martin Luther King quote, which is so important, which is that we who love peace need to learn to organize as effectively as those who love war. And, the organize effectively bit is a work in progress, right? So that is something we are learning. We need to get better at being multilingual. We need to get better at, attracting the kind of resources that this peace work really takes to go from grassroots activity to global transformation. I mean, there's some big challenge ahead of us, and it's tied up in that idea of organizing effectively. So Peace Week finishes on the 24th of September, and it is connecting all these different initiatives. Obviously, the 99 days of peace through unity is fully inclusive of the 11 days of global unity. So it's about how can we all come together and connect these variety of initiatives and platforms in a way that empowers all of them, and in a way that creates something together collectively that is greater than the sum of the parts. And that's the challenge. That's what we're doing together. So really, really honored to be here with you. Love Trends Magazine. It's such a substantial publication. And it's certainly something that you can go and look. If you want to know what's going on in the world of the evolutionary edge of human history and destiny, Trends Magazine is a good place to start, because you'll get an insight and you'll learn about some of the great things that are happening globally at the moment, Robert. So thank you for having me with you.
Great, thank you, Ben. So the one thing that came to mind as you were talking was that, and the really wonderful, powerful thing about Unity Earth, all the wonderful organizations that you did mention, and the wonderful visionary people that you mentioned, is they're going beyond categories. They go beyond left or right, conservative, liberal. Um, it's sort of transcending any categories, which is the very concept behind unity. It is an evolution. We're taking the outdated ideas, the outdated categories, the outdated concepts, and moving beyond it, thinking in much different, much more universal terms.
Yeah, I definitely think. Look, I mean, it's a fascinating discussion when you bring in domestic politics. It not that you did, Robert, but that's where my mind went because I know there's huge challenges in your country, and that's something that is complex. But in general terms, the idea of transcending the blue versus red or whatever the dynamic is and going to the next level of consciousness is absolutely, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. There is a big discussion around what does that mean at the engaged level of national politics. But I think that for us at Unity Earth and we the world is um, uh, there is a global approach which does transcend that division of left versus right, blue versus red, whatever the dynamic is that's beating up on each other, and finding a way to go to another place of unity, which actually brings the best of blue and the best of red together and add something else which hasn't been there before, which is a higher level of consciousness. So I think, one of the ways that's often explained to me and, using sort of religious terminology is, you can look at uh, the Taliban and you can look at Rumi and they're both Muslim.
Mhm.
But there are very different ends of the developmental scale. You can look at the Crusades, you can look at St. Francis,
Mhm.
and they're both Christian, but they're at very different ends of the developmental scale. So it's similar to what you're saying. We've got to evolve, we've got to get to a higher level of our understanding. Doesn't mean we lose our identities, but it means we go on a journey of increase, of expansion, of more inclusivity, and more beauty and truth and goodness. So absolutely right. It's a journey of evolution and a journey of expansion. And I think that idea of Ken Wilber of include and transcend is an incredibly important one.
So Ben, well, we just have a few more minutes, because I know you do have another engagement. If you wouldn't mind speaking, what was the original vision that led you to, towards the idea of Unity Earth? Was there an inspiring event or something that was really driving you? If you don't mind sharing.
Yeah, thank you, Robert. It's always a challenging one for me to answer. I think I just said on another call actually, it's a similar question, but we're living in a time where there are millions of people. We referred to all those organizations before. There are millions of people who are called. In fact, it may well be a much, much larger number than that who are truly called to live a life of service in this time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. That's become like a meme that resonates because it's got so much truth in it. And we're called. There's a call. We are individually called to do things. I have definitely experienced that, like you and Rick and thousands and millions and tens of millions of others have had that call upon my life. And so in some ways that call goes back to when I was a child, and there are certain family experiences, and I was privileged to live in a family with connection to Aboriginal Australia through my father's work. There are many layers of answer to your question. And then, through a variety of initiatives and platforms and experiences, living in Thailand for 6 or 7 years, where our children were born, and having experiences with interfaith and the Buddhist monks, the Turkish Islam. I've had very many profound experiences with a variety of spiritual traditions. All of them have all of them have been those significant events. There have been so many significant events, so I couldn't name them all. But along the way, Unity Earth really has roots, even though it emerged in 2016, it has roots going back decades through the work of Dr. Kurt Johnson and the interspiritual movement, going back to Brother Wayne Teasdale, through the work of Reverend Deborah Moldo, through Jeff Van der Kloot of the Evolutionary Leaders. I mean, there are so many people who were involved. Derek Grimm, who was working, we were partner in a variety of enterprises, including one called onegod.com. So onegod.com was, before there was Unity Earth, there was sort of this interfaith, interspiritual platform. That's the number onegod.com, which is still up there. And then so Unity Earth really emerged out of that, Robert, and we feel strongly that it's founded us and not the other way around. So it's taking us collectively on this extraordinary journey and continues to do that. So it's a bit of a mystery where Unity Earth came from, but it came from everywhere, and from a place that's impossible to describe. So I think that, we everybody who is responding to their call authentically, sincerely, devotedly, I think really is the greatest hope that we have.
Ben, thank you so much. I mean, you really touched on something when you said that it found you, because I think that is all of our experience when we start to open ourselves to the universal and to be open to each other. And I'm so glad that you are part of us. We all work together. We all partnership. We all share the vision, and I'm so happy and so appreciative that you were able to join us this evening, or this
Thank you,
morning
Robert.
by you.
Thank you, Robert. Well, yeah, thank you for everything you do. It's such important work. Trans Magazine and We the World and the 11 Days of Global Unity are hugely significant contributions to, this current evolutionary moment. And really grateful to be with you, and give our best to Rick and Angel and everybody at We. And looking forward to the 11 Days of Global Unity coming up, as you say, very, very soon.
Yeah, as a wait, I'm just going to do a quick shout out to Rick. We miss him, and look forward to when he will be part of the Welcome to We show again. And of course, as always, to thank Angel Fullerton, who makes everything possible. So thank you, Angel.
Thank you, Angel.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Robert and Ben.
Wonderful.
And thank you, Ben. Please have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Blessings. Thank you, Angel. Thank you, Robert. Bye for now. Love you, Rick.